this is Lilac. It's good to see y'all. Been a while. Been gone for a minute. Now I'm back with the jump off. Shout out to Lil Kim. I wanted to do my very first Let's Get Into It with Lilac, and the subject that's on everybody's mind is what's going on with Miss Tessica, aka, well, y'all know the rest. I don't want to call her that because, there's certain connotations to the word gorilla, and she just happened to use a glue called Gorilla Glue, but I don't want to call her the nickname that the internet has given her. So let's move on from that. Like I think I did what a lot of people did. So I did a couple of things when I heard about this. One, my initial reaction was shock and awe, because I was like, why did you think, as a grown person? And then, I think we all just found out she was 40, and a daycare school owner. Why, as a grown person who is a teacher of children, would you take Gorilla Glue, of all things, and put it on your hair? And so my initial reaction was shock and awe, and then just laughing, not necessarily at her, but the ridiculousness of the situation. Like, nobody told you that you shouldn't do that, or you didn't research first to see if that was a good idea. You didn't read the label. And I know there's, it's the internet, so people do a lot of things, on the internet that you probably shouldn't, and then there's repercussions later on. Her repercussions are large. The thing, I think she's trying to save her hair, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think she's gonna be able to save her hair. And I feel for her, because that's like, for a Black woman in particular, losing your hair is like very hard. It's a hard thing to have to deal with, because our hair is so much of who we are and a part of our culture. And for me, like, somebody said that, this is something, Black women can feel for her about, because we have to do so many things to our hair for it to look presentable. Just up until recently, most of us were putting poison on our scalp. If you ever had a relaxer, that is poison. So we can't feel like, oh, how could she do this, when and some of us still are putting poison on our scalp, on our hair and scalp, to make it straight. And it's like the bigger conversation of assimilation and wanting to have the, sleek look, because we think that looks better, because it's been ingrained in us for so long that look is what looks good, or it's good hair, right? And it's something I still struggle with, because when I go out for job interviews, I straighten my hair, because I'm natural, as you can see. But, I feel like a lot of times, if I don't get the job, maybe it's because the one time I decide to wear my natural hair, they don't like it, and so they don't hire me, because the fact that my hair is natural is not seen as acceptable. Even in 2021, we're still struggling to assimilate. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who is mixed race and is adopted. I won't say her name to keep her privacy intact, but she was adopted by a South Asian woman and a white man. And she watched the documentary Good Hair with her mother. Good Hair by Chris Rock. It just you know, goes through explaining what Black women go through to assimilate and make their hair look presentable for the world, for the corporate world, for the world in general. And in the midst of watching that, her mother turns to her and goes, and she's natural, "Do you want to get a kitty perm so your hair is more manageable?" And that part shocked me. And then here's the other part that really sent me. So she had braids once, and you know, when she had braids, she was like, "I don't really know how to take care of them." And then so I was giving her advice because that was the first time she had gotten braids. And her mom said, "I don't like that you had braids. You didn't grow up in the ghetto." And that was like heavy for me. And it didn't even happen to me, but it was heavier for me hearing that from her, because you know, we had conversations about hair all the time, and so I kind of gave her advice on what to use on her hair, and you know, I was like, what your texture is, and what products you should use, and all that, because this stuff I had to learn on my own, because up until 2012 I was still getting relaxers, and so I had to learn how to take care of my natural hair. And so I was giving her all this advice, and like, I look at her like my little sister, right? And so it hurt me to hear that's the kind of thing she had to deal with growing up. And she said that she had only been to white salons to get relaxers. And I was like, "Your mom didn't try to go to Black salons?" And she said, "We went once, and it was an older Black lady, and she was very heavy-handed, and she said she lost some hair." And so hearing that from her, even though she was mixed race, and she was raised in a home where, you know, she didn't have the cultural connection that she needed, so as a result, her hair suffered. And her interaction with her adopted mother, she says she's still working on her. And I was like, well, Godspeed, girl, because my heart would be absolutely broken. Like, because it's a hard enough time when you get it from your Black parents. And if you went natural, when you're going through that teeny weeny afro phase, you get it from your black parents, your Black natural born parents. Because, you know, I did. And my sister went natural too. We both got it. They're like, "Oh, why don't you straighten your hair?" To this day, straighten your hair. It will look so pretty. It's so long. And it is long. It will look so pretty straight. So, like, there's a bigger conversation around the fact that we are so pressured to have our hair look a certain way that we have gone to ridiculous lengths to make this look different. So I said all that to say this. I think it's time now, more than ever, for us to really embrace our hair the way it grows and stop putting ourselves through all of the things we put our hair and our health through. Because even with, like, and I'm not saying you should, if you want to keep relaxing your hair and wearing wigs and weaves, I'm not against that. I'm just saying we need to give ourselves more grace about our hair and the way it looks, and not let, you know, beauty standards and assimilation control how we feel about our hair. If you want your edges laid, lay your edges. Just obviously use the proper tools to do that. I just think that we have to free our minds, and I'm not trying to sound like hotepish or nothing, but I just think we need to free our minds in the way we view our hair. And that's not just for women. I think that goes for men as well. Because men also, like, if they decide to have dreadlocks, it's seen as unacceptable. And your hair and for men, your hair has to be a certain way to be considered corporate or acceptable. And, you know, I've seen people like, you know, clown Jay-Z for wearing his hair naturally. I've seen people clown J. Cole for wearing his hair naturally, saying that he looks homeless and all this other stuff. We as a people just really, really need to stop this, because we're not only harming ourselves, we're harming other people, we're harming our psyche, and we are accepting the way people who are not black and do not have our hair, we're accepting the way that they see us and the way that they think about us. And I know for a lot of people it's not about that. It's about what you like. But on the same token, like, and for example, only certain types of natural hair is acceptable. Like, you know, I do my little twist outs and everything, and I rarely wear like a fro because it's not acceptable. So I'm still like subject to that thing of, you know, my natural hair has to look a certain way for it to look good, right? And my hair has to be a certain texture. You know, I have 4C hair, you know, but everybody wants that looser curl pattern. And so you do things to try to make your hair look like that certain curl pattern. So, I mean, we're all victim to the way we feel about our hair. We are all victim to it. And Miss Tessica is no different. She wanted a certain look, so she went to the extreme to achieve that look. And unfortunately, she went a little too far, and she's paying the price for that now. So let's try to renew our minds where this is concerned and educate not only ourselves but people in our community so that things like this don't happen again. So that, and I mean this, and I don't want to admonish her, because if she were of any other race, I would have still had the same reaction. Like, what were you thinking? Like, had she been white or Asian or Native American, I would have still had that same reaction. Like, why did you think that was okay to do? It's not. Don't do it again. But yeah, so that's my view on this subject. So that was getting into it with Lilac. Then my next subject will be these videos that I've seen about how people are making fun of African food and food of other cultures in general. So look out for that. All right, bye.